think you know what young means, right? Well, what if I told you our entire understanding, our whole concept of youth, is maybe, just maybe, wrong? Today, we're diving into why being young is so much more than just a number on a birthday cake.
Okay, so let's just start with a really simple question. What does it actually mean to be young? I mean, really, if you had to define it right now, what's the very first thing that pops into your head?
I'm willing to bet for most of us it's something like, it's just a natural phase of life. It's that simple biological step-by-step transition from being a kid to being an adult. It's all about age, right?
But what if that's not the whole story? What if that's not even close? What if the whole idea of youth isn't some hardwired biological fact, but is actually an idea? An idea that we as a society have completely made up. And that brings us to this really powerful idea at the heart of the research we're looking at today. And that's the concept that youth is actually a social and cultural construction.
Okay, hold on. Social construction. What does that even mean? Well, think of it this way. It's an idea whose meaning isn't set in stone by nature or biology. Instead, we, society, culture, history, we're the ones who create its meaning, and we're constantly changing it over time. All right, this slide really lays it all out. On one side, you've got the standard biological view, right? Youth is just this universal thing, it's based on age, and hey, everyone goes through it. Simple. But then you have the social view, and this argues something totally different. It says youth isn't a stage, it's a status. And what that status means? Well, that changes a lot, depending on your social class, your gender, and even what point in history you happen to be born in.
So to really get a grip on this difference, we need to talk about a key concept that just throws this inequality into sharp relief. It's called the social moratorium.
So a social moratorium, it's basically like a protected waiting period, a timeout almost. It's when society kind of gives certain young people, and that word certain is super important here, permission to hit pause on all the adult stuff. Things like getting a full-time job, starting a family, and instead focus on things like education, maybe some travel, or just figuring themselves out. And this is the path for the lucky ones who get that moratorium. I mean, this is the classic youth experience we see in movies and TV shows, right? You get time to study and figure out who you are. You get to experiment, try different things, mess up a little, and then you ease into independence, usually with a lot more resources and pretty much on your own terms. But here's the thing. For so many young people, that path is a complete fantasy. Without that social moratorium, the reality is, well, it's completely different. It means jumping straight into the workforce. It means taking on serious family responsibilities. It means having almost no time for fun or for studying. Basically, your youth gets cut short. It's a totally different experience.
Okay, but let's be clear. Being young isn't just about waiting around, privileged or not. It's also this incredible explosion of creativity. And that's the next big point in this research, the massive role young people play as producers of our culture. The authors of our source material, Margulis and Urresti, they put it perfectly. They said, young people are not just passive receivers of culture, but active producers of meanings, styles, and practices. I mean, think about that. They're not just sitting on the sidelines consuming what we give them. No way. They're actively out there shaping the world we all live in.
And you see this literally everywhere. Just think about it for a second. Music. They're the ones creating new genres, new sounds. Clothing. They define the styles and trends that, let's be honest, the rest of us start wearing a year later. Language. All that slang we use, that comes from them. They even take regular old products off the shelf and completely reinterpret them, giving them brand new cultural meaning. So what you have is this really fascinating push and pull dynamic. It's this constant tension between two big opposing forces, social control and social transformation. So on one side, you have society trying to manage young people, right? Through schools, through laws, through all these social rules. It creates what we call a space of control. But on the other side, youth is this incredibly powerful space of transformation. It's the place where the status quo gets challenged, where brand new ideas are born, and where real cultural change gets sparked. So, after all of that, where does this leave us? Well, it pretty much forces us to throw out that simple, it's just about age definition of youth. We have to rethink the whole thing. And if there's one crucial thing to take away from all this, it's this. Being young is not some single universal experience that's the same for everyone.
It's a massively diverse social condition, and it's shaped from the ground up by the opportunities and the inequalities that you're born into. It's not about how old you are, it's about your circumstances.
And that leaves us with one last pretty big question. If the whole experience of being young is something we as a society have built, then doesn't that mean we can rebuild it? Could we actually reconstruct it to be more fair, more just, and give everyone a real shot? That's definitely something to think about.